Hello and welcome to another edition of Conspirator Brock's Pull List. This is my pull list for the week of July 27th, 2016. Let's get right into it because there's a ton of books this week. First up, we have Action Comics number 960. Action Comics has been really good. I'm looking forward to seeing where the story with the Battle of Doomsday goes, but so far it has been awesome. And the next book up is a book that was delayed. We got shorted all of our copies last week, and that is Archer and Armstrong number 5. Yeah, I'm kind of on the fence with this title. If this issue doesn't grab me, then I'm most likely done with Archer and Armstrong. The first story arc was horrid. Next up is a new number 1 from DC, which is the Batgirl number 1. I'm surprised it didn't get a Rebirth issue. Yeah, pretty weird. I don't really like the hipster costume. Hopefully they get rid of it, but we'll see. So I'm gonna check it out. Next up, we have Detective Comics number 937. Pretty dope cover with the bat symbol American flag in the background. Yeah, this one's Detective has just been totally top notch with Batman, Batwoman, and the assembled team of characters I like to call the Outsiders, but you know, that's not them. Really good stuff, so I'm looking forward to seeing how the story progresses with this one. Next up is for my kids, or specifically my daughter, and that's Disney's Frozen number 1 from Joe Books Limited. My kids really liked the Finding Dory one that I picked up. It had like 3 stories in it, so hopefully this one my daughter enjoys. And yeah, we can have some cool reading material, and I get them interested in comics young. Yes. Next up, we have Divinity 2, number 4. Divinity 2 has just been really solid book. I really enjoy reading it. The first Divinity was awesome. So I'm looking forward to seeing where this one goes. Next up is issue 14 of Dr. Fate. I don't know if this is the last issue or not, but I'm going to keep going with it. I've enjoyed it for the most part. It's not great. It's not horrible. It's kind of middle of the road. Yeah. Next up is East of West, number 28, the Hickman Dragata book. Amazing book. Really slow, but I've been enjoying it for 27 issues, so I'm going to keep going with it. Next up, we have Flash, number 3, another solid book from DC. In this one, we're going to see what happens because everybody seems to have the Speed Force in them now, so yeah, we're going to see what happens with that. Next up is the big event going on at Valiant right now, and that's 4001 AD. This is issue 3. Just really enjoying the 4001 AD stuff. I think the only title that I wasn't too keen on was the 4001 AD Shadow Man one shot, but the rest of it has been really good, and I'm looking forward to issue 3. Next up is Hal Jordan in the Green Lantern Corps number 1. The Rebirth issue was fantastic, so I can't wait to see what happens with this. Vendetti has, I think, found his footing with Green Lantern, so I'm hopeful for this Hal Jordan book. Next up is Harley Quinn number 30. Very cool kind of Trinity cover there. Yep. So, love me some Harley. I think this is the last issue before she gets relaunched. Remember, we Comics Conspiracy, we're getting an exclusive store variant cover for the Harley number 1 that's coming out next week. There'll be a link in the description below, so if you want to snag yourself a copy, please do so. I have been prepping shipping material for it for 2 weeks. So next week's going to be a hectic week at the shop, but I'm looking forward to the challenge. Yes. Next up, we have a Nightwing number 1. The Rebirth issue was okay. I'm curious to see how Nightwing pans out. I've never really been a huge Nightwing fan, but I try and give stuff a chance. So it's on my pull list. Next up, we have Outcast, number 19. I have not yet gotten a chance to watch the TV show. I've heard good things, but the comic book is really great. Very slow book. I think changing over to graphic novels or trade paperbacks might be a better idea, but I've already gone 19 issues, so I'm just going to keep going with it. Next up, we have Titans #1. I wasn't too impressed with the Titans Rebirth issue. I'm not a big fan of the Titans to begin with. I've tried numerous times to get into the Titans, but every single time I've been disappointed. This one was okay, but again, Green Arrow and Titans were on the bottom of my Rebirth list for stuff that I was looking forward to, but we'll see how issue 1 does. Next up, we have Wonder Woman #3. Yeah, it's just been really, really good stuff. I've been enjoying it. The last issue was the past stuff, so this is the current day stuff. It's pretty interesting to see a story told like this in a comic book. So we get one issue where we talk one story, and then another issue where we talk another. So I'm curious to see how this progresses, but I've been enjoying Wonder Woman so far. Next up is Exo Manowar #48, and yes, we are back to having the wonderful microprint inside. So you know what that means. My dumbass got 2. So this is the one I'm keeping sealed, and this is the one I'm going to open for you guys so you can see what microprint I get when I find out what I get. So yeah, so let's get this bad boy open. The last microprint was okay. It was just whatever. I never really did any research on how many there were, and I'm not too keen on it, but it's pretty cool what they're doing. So yeah, so let's get rid of that, and then let's pop open this bad boy. And nice, we got the Stephen Mooney. I got the Stephen Mooney one. So yeah, pretty cool stuff. So yeah, so that's my Valiant little free microprint. That's pretty much it for my pull list. I did, hold on one second. Something dropped. I'm here. I am a sucker for variant covers, and I'm going to show you my the variant covers I picked up this week. So first up, I did pick up the variant cover for Action Comics #960. It's got Wonder Woman on the cover. Pretty cool, that one. I like that one. And then I did pick up the Batgirl one, even though I despise that costume. The artwork seemed a little cool on it. Third prints are coming, so I wanted to give you guys a heads up because I snagged a third print for Batman Rebirth #1. So yeah, third prints, serious stuff. Next up, we have 937 for Detective. Cool stuff right there. Flash has a cover, or the variant cover kind of explains what I was talking about, like where everybody seems to have the Speed Force. So that was pretty cool by Johnson there. Hal Jordan had a variant cover that I thought was pretty cool, so I snagged that one. Nightwing had one from Ivan Rice, which I think is a really solid cover. Nightwing there on top of a building with the disintegrating Court of Owls mask in the back. Then we got the fun Titans variant with Wally on the cover there in the red costume. So. And then finally, the wonderful Frank Cho, who the last variant for Wonder Woman, I kind of thought he did a not so good a job on Wonder Woman's face, and so apparently he's covering it up on this one, so he doesn't have to deal with it. But yeah, there's a lot of fun, a lot of stuff apparently going on with Frank Cho and DC. From what I heard, he was fired. I have no idea if that's true, but yeah, I don't know, man. Sometimes. You shouldn't bite the hand that feeds you, and you shouldn't piss people off, but who knows. I did pick up a graphic novel this week. Detective Comics Volume 8, Blood of Heroes came out. This is the hardcover right here. So yeah, so this is pretty much collects the sneak peek for Detective and issues 41 to 47. I really like the Francis Manapul stuff. So yeah, I mean, I have the other hardcovers for Detective, so I'm just going to hopefully finish the run out with those. We did get another thing in our box this week, and I had to snag it up, and that is the Faces Suicide Squad mini poster for the movie that comes out next week. So stoked. Yeah, so that means I got 3 posters. I think I got 3 posters for Suicide Squad, and yeah, so I like it. These have been out for a little bit, but I hadn't actually seen one of these, but I snagged one up, and it's the Funko Pop Harley Quinn from the movie Suicide Squad. We did get in the Joker, Rick Flag, Katana, Killer Croc, and Diablo. Um, but yeah, and I do have the Enchantress right here. From the DC collectibles. But yeah, snag that one up because I like me Harley. And then not to have just tons of special. Like I got a fair amount of. Well, I didn't get a fair amount. I got one special order and one thing I randomly bought. But another T-shirt came in for me this week and follows the same vein of Harley Quinn and is the Little Black Book black and white Harley T-shirt. So cool stuff. So can't wait to sport that. I have way too many T-shirts. It's ridiculous. But yeah, you can never. I think you can never have too many T-shirts. All right, that's it for all the stuff that I got and took home. Now I get to go on to the wonderful read list. This is stuff I read to, or I pick up to stay current. First up, we have Captain America: Steve Rogers, #3 by Nick Spencer. Issue 2 was basically, yep, this is what we did. So I'm curious to see where they go from here. But overall, I think the constant renumbering is getting to a lot of people. Next up is a new #1 from Aftershock, and that's Captain Kidd. Figured I'd give this one a try. Mark Waid penned this one, so I'm going to see how it is. Next up, we have Big Book from Marvel, and that's Civil War II #4. Issue 3 was solid. It was the first book I read out of Civil War II that I really enjoyed, so hopefully that level keeps going with issue 4. Next up, we have The Extraordinary X-Men #12, continuing the Apocalypse Wars. There's not really a crossover going on. It's all Apocalypse Wars, so one book is dealing with one thing and one book is dealing with another. This is no real crossing over. I stopped reading all new X-Men because I just didn't care anymore. Next up, we have Future Quest #3. Issue 1 and 2 didn't really catch my interest too well. I know a lot of people love Future Quest and love the characters that they've put into this book, but I just didn't grow up on those. So, I'm not too big on this one. I'll give this one a shot, but I don't know if I'm going to keep reading it. Next up, we have The Haunted Mansion #5. Just a fun book about the Haunted Mansion and a story about a kid who's trapped in the Haunted Mansion. So the last issue left on a cliffhanger, and so I'm hopeful that issue 5 answers, makes me go, yes! Next up, we have The Mighty Thor #9. Jason Aaron's done a great job on Thor. I can't wait to read this issue, and he's gotten back on track. There was a little break in the story. We saw something else, a story about Thor, the male Thor, for a couple issues, and the art was shitty on it. But now we're back to Jane Foster Thor, and it's really good stuff. Next up is another solid title, and this is from Jeff Lemire. It's Old Man Logan #9. This is the part 1 of The Last Ronin. So I'm curious to see what goes on with this. Old Man Logan has been really good. The last issue was kind of just a standalone issue with from the past Jean Grey taking Logan around to different areas where things happened in his timeline the night that he killed the X-Men. So she's kind of trying to ease his mind and stuff like that. Really good issue. Next up is a Rebirth title. It's Red Hood and the Outlaws Rebirth #1. I tried Red Hood and the Outlaws when 52 popped it out, and it was okay, but then it fell off really bad. I tried to read Red Hood and Arsenal, and it just couldn't do it. It was so bad. So I'm going to give this one a shot to see if it catches my interest. If it does, then that will end up on the pull list. If not, it will stay on the read list until I'm done with it. And then finally on my read list that I took home is ROM from IDW #1. So we'll see how this one is. I mean, I'm just checking out an issue #1. There's a few titles that I didn't get a chance to pick up because we just didn't have very many copies of them. And that's American Monster #4 from Aftershock. I've been enjoying that one, so hopefully there's a copy I can check out. Archie #10. I know I kind of stopped reading Archie, but I want to let you guys know that our new Archie's out. BEK or Black Eyed Kids number 4 from Aftershock is out. I've enjoyed that one, but it's a little weird. And then we have May, M-A-E, or M-A-E, and that's the Dark Horse book. Interesting. Curious to see where it goes. The first 2 issues, piqued my curiosity. So hopefully issue 3 keeps me engaged. And then finally, I skipped Deathstroke number 20 from DC. I don't know if that finishes off the current Deathstroke series or if it's going to continue, but yeah, we'll see. And then finally, Micronauts number 4. I've enjoyed Micronauts. It's okay. It's not the best read in the world, but it's passable. So yeah, I'm not going to get a chance to do a full review video on Batman: The Killing Joke. I went last night on Monday the 25th to a Fathom event for the film that the Comics Conspiracy basically bought out a whole theater, and it was all comic book geeks. It was great. I know it's gotten a lot of flack on the internet. I recently read Killing Joke to kind of, refresh my memory on what it was and what was in the story. They did an amazing job. Warner Brothers Animation and everybody behind the making of this movie just did a really, really great job doing justice to the source material. Mark Hamill did an amazing job on this version of Joker. I still hear his voice when I read Joker in comics. But yeah, I mean they added about 30 minutes to the film of stuff that's not actually in the graphic novel, and the reason why they did this was to expand on who Batgirl was, Barbara Gordon, and because if you just read Killing Joke and you have no idea who these characters are or no idea who Barbara Gordon is, you're kind of lost as to the connection to Batman. Is the connection, the kind of her lying to her father, Jim Gordon. So I think they did a really good job adding a Batgirl story to this film. So yeah, I mean, overall, I think it was really good. I think seeing it on the big screen was an experience, and I'm glad I did. But I think again, a lot of these animation movies should be small screen, straight to video. I know you can go ahead and purchase it digitally now. It came out today, so if you're curious and you get digital movies, I would recommend picking up Batman: Killing Joke. It's really, really good. I'm waiting for the Blu-ray to come out in a few weeks. But yeah, overall, I liked it. I will talk more about it on Comics Conspiracy episode 271, which we have not yet recorded because we had to push Geek Box back to today to record because they normally record on Mondays. And so we are recording tomorrow night. So for those of you who normally download the podcast, listen to the podcast, and check me out on here. Sorry, you're going to check me out first, and then you'll get your dose of the Comic Conspiracy podcast. And we have a lot to talk about on that episode. So, yeah, a lot of Comic-Con news. So, yeah. All right, that's pretty much it. Sorry for the long one today, but I got just tons and tons of books today. Again, thank you for watching. Please like, share, and subscribe to the channel. Let me know what you think. Leave comments down in the comment section below. Always like seeing what everyone's picks are, what they're reading, so on and so forth. Yeah, and definitely follow me on Twitter. My handle's @BrockSager. And like I said before, you can listen to me on the Comics Conspiracy podcast, which you can find at www.geekbox.net. If you like the podcast and you like me and you like my fellow conspirators, you can help support us through Patreon at www.patreon.com/comicconspiracy. And for as little as $1 a month, you help us with hosting and getting food and all that stuff. And to all our Patreon backers, we do greatly appreciate it. Thank you very much. So yeah, so that's a lot for this week. Next week, hopefully, I survive packaging up a ton of Harley exclusive store variants for Comics Conspiracy, and I have enough energy to do this video next week. I think I'll have to try and find like an apple or something and eat that. But yeah, thanks again for watching, and I will see you next week.